You're watching MetroCast Channel 10, and as I promised, this is part 2 of a 2-part show that we did on the Animal Wildlife Rescue located in Lusby. And this is part 2 of a story that started out not so great, but has a really happy ending. Remember, we met Harold, okay, that's what I named him, the Screech owl, and we've gone through a whole series of surgeries and rehabilitation and healing because of his eye. Well, the good news is we're to the very good part. We've brought Harold, and he's going to be released today. We're going to get some footage of that in just a little bit. But right with me right now is Ann White with the Animal Ophthalmology Center, and you're located in Huntingtown, right? And you have some good news. You've been able to look at the owl.
Yes, he looks very good. He had some lesions in his retina. He had some fluid underneath of his retina, and part of it was torn on one eye, and we were able to treat those lesions with antibiotics, and those have all healed, and his retina is reattached, and he can see again.
Oh, that is such great news. Now, to backtrack just a little bit, he was hit by a car, and the people that hit him actually sprang into action immediately and called Ron at the Animal Wildlife Rescue and said, you know, we've hurt this animal, what do we do? And he's taken really good care of it and brought him to you. And when you first looked at him the first time with his injuries, what were your thoughts?
I mean, the lesions that he had in both eyes were pretty severe. He had about 3 large spots in the left eye underneath his retina that those were blind spots for him, and if he can't see, then he can't hunt his food, and so to have those big blind spots were really bad for him. And then the tear and the detachment, he couldn't see out of that. But with antibiotics, we were able to heal up those other lesions that we think were inflammatory or infectious, and then the tear just has gone back down and actually sealed. So, I mean, he's not perfect, but he's pretty darn close, good enough so he'll be able to hunt and eat. And
so you feel really comfortable about when we release him and follow him?
Oh yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, I know that you're a veterinarian, but your specialty is on eyes.
Ophthalmology.
Ophthalmology. That is just incredible.
Yeah.
How did you get interested in that?
It is a great field. I get to do a lot of surgery and give a lot of animals their vision back by doing cataract surgery. So I do dogs and cats and horses and wildlife, and I go to the Maryland Zoo if they have an eye problem, and the Baltimore Aquarium. So that's kind of the cool part. I get to do all species. But it's very rewarding. It's very interesting.
Now, just because I don't know, as a layperson, do all animals' eyes work similarly, or is there a really wide range of differences? Yeah,
they kind of have all the basic structures, the cornea, which is like the windshield of your eye, and the lens that brings things into sharp focus, and then your retina, which is like the film in the camera. But they all react to drugs differently. They see differently. Some animals see in some colors, some in another. So there are differences that you have to know and study about.
And what have you? And I know I asked you before we went on camera, and I asked you what you loved about, being into this field, and you gave a very right brain and left brain answer. You love all the cool tools and technology.
Yes, I have great toys. It's all microsurgery. I do a lot of surgery under an operating microscope.
Really?
And it's very rewarding. If I have a animal that comes in and they can't see in the morning due to their cataracts, and I take their cataracts out and give them a new lens, and then they walk out and they can see. It's instant gratification.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great.
And they're beautiful. Eyes are beautiful.
Why?
It's just so many different colors. If you're driving at night and you catch an animal's eyes in the headlights and you see that green glow, different animals have different colors in the backs of their eyes. And so some are green, some are yellow, some are red, some are blue, purple. So they're just beautiful.
Oh, that's really interesting. I hadn't really thought about it. I just assumed it was a reflection, but I didn't realize that there was a real reason behind
that.
There's
actual structure back there.
Well, I'm hoping that it showed up on camera, because what I was absolutely fascinated by when you were examining this owl is how when you shine the light really closely, his pupils absolutely constrict quickly.
Yep, because birds have a muscle in their iris. They have actual skeletal muscle, so they have control over their pupil. We don't have control over our pupils.
Right.
They just react to light how they will. But a bird can actually go and just pull that down really fast. It also makes them a little bit more difficult to dilate, because you have to use a special dilating medication, not like people.
And you dilate their eyes to perform surgery or see how it's working. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good. Well, before we let you go, let me just ask you this. I like to ask people that have interesting jobs, what is the most amazing thing you've ever done, or the most amazing outcome? And I know that's really hard to choose from.
That is hard to choose. Like I said, I do a lot of cataract surgery, and just every animal that was blind that I can see again, and it makes the owners so happy too. Like sometimes I feel like I'm treating the owners as much as I'm treating their animal. Like they don't want to see their animal suffer and be depressed, and when they can see again and they're happy again, that's the best.
Yeah. You know what? That seems to be a common thread. I've talked to a couple of veterinarians lately, and the common thread is, yes, I'm treating the animal because I love this, but the next best thing is when you hand it back to their people. Yep.
And that human-animal bond is so special.
It is. It absolutely is. Well, it's really been interesting talking to you. And let me ask you this last question. If we have any little people watching and they're interested in getting into veterinary medicine, what do you say to them?
Study.
That's mom advice.
Yep. You have to have good grades to get into school, just because there's not very many veterinary schools, and a lot of people like to be veterinarians, so it's tough competition. But
good to know.
You can persevere, you can do it.
Okay, absolutely. Well, Anna, it was wonderful to talk to you. Animal Eye Care, and you're located in Huntingtown.
In Annapolis, Huntingtown, and Laurel.
And am I to understand that you're part of a group of Mid-Atlantic?
Yes. We have 8 hospitals, North Carolina, Virginia, and Maryland.
Okay.
And,
Wow. So, see a lot of animals do a lot of good things.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. Well, it was good to talk to you.
Thank you. Nice talking to you.
All right. The next thing we're going to see is we're going to release our little Screech owl. And what's great news about that is they mate for life. They have a mate. And we have really good hopes that we're going to release him in the area where he was found. So he's going to be in his hometown area, per se, and be able to find his mate. So we'll do that in just a little bit. You're watching MetroCast Channel 10. The last several weeks have been leading up to this point. Ron, it's good to have you today on the program.
Thank you. Good to be
and
here.
We're going to let Harold free today.
It's a great feeling.
Now, I know that you don't name your animals. We want to go ahead and mention that. That's my name for him, just because I fell in love with the story you told about how they find their mates. Because when we first met you, and we first met this little Screech owl, you told how, he was hit by a car, and as soon as he was rehabilitated and well, you were going to let him loose and he'd be able to find his mate. And I love the story you told about how they're able to do that and how they mate for life. So you don't name them, because the one thing that you really do, which is a big service, is you don't handle the animals that come to your rescue center. You don't handle them very much because you want them to be able to go back in the wild.
We have to.
Okay, good.
So yeah, he's wild, and he'll go back and help his wife, or whatever you want to call it, feed the baby. She's probably mad by now because he's been skipping out on his duties, and he's been, recovering and resting and had a vacation. But
so you figure probably what happened is, we'll rehash just a little bit. He was hit by a car, but it was during mating season, so you probably think he was a little disorganized.
Disoriented and or just distracted. Either that or chasing a mouse across the street, which they do a lot. The mice get out in the open, they swoop down and get him. So we get quite a few that are hit by a car.
Okay, and his vision is good, and his flying skills are good.
Vision's great, and White checked that out for us, and it's progressively gotten better and better, and everything's all scarred over, healed, and retina's reattached, which is great. So.
And it was really important to come back. We're on Brooms Island Road at one of the intersections because this is where the accident happened. And so he's in his home turf, basically, here, right?
Within 100 yards of his
that's so exciting.
feeding site or nesting site. So.
Okay, wonderful.
They'll be out there hooting and howling back and forth and find each other.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sure
great.
By the time the sun's down, they'll know where each other are.
They will find each other?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so he may just fly straight back to his home.
Yeah, gotta go see Mama.
That's right. They'll be in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Where have you been?
It's been 11 weeks, you said, right?
It's been quite a while, so he's taking a little walkabout.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, it's good news. All right, well, I guess the only thing left to do is let him go home.
Sounds great. It's a good feeling.
Absolutely.
So.